So basically, when it's over, then it's over, right? Not so much. Welcome back, guys. Thank you so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for episode 9, which is actually entitled The Boogeyman, of the Jeffrey Dahmer story as told by Ryan Murphy. Um, like I said, when it's over, then it's over, right? So everything should in time just go back to normal and we just all move on. But is that really the case? Is that really the case? I say no. In episode 9, we seen a lot of what's actually gone on after Jeffrey has been arrested and put in jail. Jeffrey continued being Jeffrey. Jeffrey just wasn't killing people. But Jeffrey continued to be a menace. He continued to basically to terrify people without directly and indirectly. I'll explain as we go through. Okay, so the Boogeyman. This is episode 9. That's just exactly who he was. So listen, Columbia Correctional Facility in Portage, Wisconsin, is where he was at. Okay, he had these little dark jokes that he would make. Listen, dark jokes. I got a dark sense of humor. You know, I might say something and be cracking up, and it's like whatever. But it's a little different when it's coming from someone like a Jeffrey Dahmer. No, we don't want no dark humor from you because, see, what we're calling dark humor is actually your reality. Don't play. Don't play with me. And here's the thing. Whenever they go to, I guess what they would refer to like the mess hall or whatever, wherever the eating quarters were at the jail, he kept having these little run-ins with the inmates, the African-American inmates, because again, black folks don't play that whole what Jeffrey got going on. We got our things about us. We got our issues where we fight, but there are times when we do band together because just the fact of knowing that Jeffrey targeted black and brown folk and just went around killing them like you thought you could, those black inmates wasn't here for it. That's the same way if you go and there's someone who's a child molester, they go to jail, you're going to get dealt with because people just don't go for it. They just don't. There's just some things that are just not going to be accepted. And he would antagonize them. Like he did not, well, maybe he didn't understand. I think because he had gotten away with things so much that he didn't really realize how the black man actually does deal with things because you were dealing with a different type of black man. You basically dealt with children for the most part and always under the guise of something else, not just literally running up against a black man and having a problem with the black man. He didn't really have that type of interactions going on. So I don't think, when you say read the room, I don't know if he really knew how to read that room. But I'll tell you, he read it wrong. Anyway, but even with the guards, there were guards that were Caucasian and other nationalities. They didn't find him funny. The thing that stuck out, there was a guard who come out. He said, "I put in a request for 2 cyanide capsules and a razor blade. Can you check on that for me?" That's not funny. That's not funny when you're sitting on death row. How's that funny? Stop playing. Stop playing. Then we see he's starting to get this fan mail. This is my issue about that. Now, I don't know how, and if any of you all want to chime into this, you can put down there in the comments. I don't know what it would do as far as constitutional rights, but I don't believe that they should have ever been delivering fan mail to Jeffrey Dahmer. Are you kidding me? Because this is the thing. Everything, for a fact, everything that goes into the jail could be read. Everything doesn't get read, but it could be read when you're sending it. His mail, I would think definitely that somebody would be making sure and be reading anything going on death row. anything that has people who are, got triggers and different things and they snap and all that. I would think that whatever's coming in, but no, there was money coming through. There was all kind of fan mail. I don't think he should have been given any fan mail. Now, I don't know what that would have done for his constitutional rights. You all can chime in with that, but because all that did was add to the narcissism that is known as Jeffrey Dahmer. He was getting off on himself. He was enjoying the fandom. They're literally sending him money. Oh, just give me your autograph. But that just goes to show you, there are sick people. There are people, it takes all kinds to make this world go round. That's why I don't take everything loosely, especially when I'm here on this whole internet situation. When I'm dealing, I'm just a small YouTuber for the most part. I'm not a huge YouTuber, but I got stalkers. I got people that come through and troll me and leave hateful messages. If you don't think that I'm actually paying attention, I'm paying attention. I pay very close attention because you really don't know who's on the other side of that. And for your mind to even work that way, there's something wrong with you. And it's not all in fun. What is the fun of hiding behind a troll account and following a person all over the internet, dropping down saying hateful stuff to them, sending them emails? So, I've had people send hateful stuff to my daggone P.O. box. It happens. It's real. It's really not a joke. And we sit here, and I don't know that you all as the viewers, some things behind y'all don't see. But no, my emails are very interesting at times. Like I said, I've gotten letters of all kind of stuff. Bible thumpers, people that just want to aggravate you. I've had people take pictures of my house, my car, all that. And I don't take any of it lightly. I don't. I really, really don't. I pay attention, and I suggest that all of you pay attention too. But you see this. This is what I'm talking about. People literally sending him letters and stuff, asking him for his autograph. If you send me your autograph, I'll send you some money. You do realize you send them some money, and they happen to read the letter and see that you sent actual currency, and they can come pick you up. All for what? All for what? He ain't getting out. You think I'm going to join him with some old crazed fandom? Child, not at all. Anyway, but this all was going on down there. I said, oh my God. Like I said, and antagonizing the inmates. He had a couple warnings from a couple guys. Was like, listen, we don't think that you're funny. We really don't. He was doing stuff, putting trays on their seat, people sit in it, and just all kind of little stupid games like a teenager. And these people are on death row. These people are not playing. They're not playing. Like, are you stupid? And he gonna say, the one guy told him, we don't like all that. He gonna say, well, my fans like it. My fans. My fans. And again, the cops, gross negligence. He's and I know y'all hear everything, y'all see everything, even when you don't want to see it or don't want to hear it or want to act like you don't. He's referring to having fans, and you know what's going on in the media. Why didn't y'all stop his mail? Why didn't y'all check out his mail? I don't know. It's weird. And they did, and I don't know if they actually did, but it wasn't in this series. This series didn't say anything like that. And again, there was more money. It just continued coming. So yeah, somebody wasn't doing something. Anyway, and this time, Glenda actually has gone home now. She's going home. Her daughter definitely did not want her to go there. And I was like, Glenda, why are you going back there? I understand about the money and things like that, but I can't even imagine. Like, I'm not going back there. They got that, especially after you know what happened and they pulled the bodies out from there and all that. Ain't no way I'd have went back there. Ain't no way. But the daughter wanted her to leave, and she's like, no, he's taking enough from me. I am not going to give him all that. He's not going to take my whole life. This is my home. I'm like, girl, and you can have it. You can have it. Ain't no way. Anyway, then there was a point where He was down there at the jail, Jeffrey, listening to cassettes of people wailing. That's what I'm saying. They were just letting all kind of stuff go on. What kind of mess is that? You all were okay with him having a cassette and laying there listening to a cassette of people wailing, and he's a serial killer. There was one of the policemen came and took it. He said, "That's my property. You can't take it." He said, "Whatever. You can't do what you did either, but you did it." And he took it from him. Just about, and that's what he's like. "I've been sentenced to 900 years." I asked him because he told me, "You deserve the electric chair." I don't know why they didn't just give you the electric chair. They're gonna say, "I asked them. They gave me 900 years instead." Just his arrogance just irritates me. Then someone had made a comic book about Jeff. They turned it into a comic book and sent the comic book to Tony's mom, asking her for an autograph. She ends up seeing a lawyer, and the lawyer had told her, you should actually go after the proceeds from whatever anybody's doing that has to do with Jeffrey Dahmer, but more so about that the father's book. That father's book, that's where you need to go. Any proceeds, because he was being offered movie deals and all this. You need to go right after it and get your shares of that money. Here, the New York Times had actually taken notice. Once they got everything together, the lawyer says, "Okay, that's what we're doing." The families actually all got together, and they were planning to yank all the proceeds from any monies that Jeff made in prison, any money that the dads, anything attached to him, that book, anything else they could find that had anything to do with him. The family, that's how the suit went. They said their families are going to get it. All the money's going to be yanked, and the money will be separated out throughout the families. Once that started, of course, the fans start doing what they do. People started calling and making phone calls and stuff. And here, the family of the 14-year-old, the two brothers, the one that was molested, the one that was killed, they start getting these hateful phone calls. And it literally, like I said, a lot of people, Glenda was going through it, and especially they showed the younger son, the one that had been molested, PTSD. They were going through like some PTSD type of symptoms, and they just couldn't shake it. It was like, again, that's why they called this episode the Bogeyman. They're thinking they're seeing them, they're having nightmares, they're very uneasy and on edge, all for very good reason. All for very good reason. Things just weren't. He was locked up, but things weren't really looking like much. You know what I mean? Glenda ends up getting a merit award, a citizen's merit award, but at the same time, the police officers that took the little boy back, they're getting an award, a recognition award. Really? Because they were just handled like they were heroes. A mess. This episode, I'm telling you, this episode just kind of just started to make you mad after, we went through all the other emotions. Here go Ryan said, "Come on now, let me get this emotion too, because I left this one out for a minute because you were mad in the beginning, but let's go on to make you mad." Just the callousness and the coldness of how it's like, "Oh, well, this ain't that bad, or that ain't that bad." The treatment that was given, "Oh, the cops, it wasn't that bad." It was that bad, and they were at fault for the duration of how all this went down. Anyway, that lawsuit was a $10 million lawsuit filed on behalf of the victims' families. $10 million. It ended up falling through. It fell through, it kind of fell apart, and they ended up getting an offer for $850,000. How we go from 10 million to 850,000? Are you kidding? Just don't care. Just gross. Just don't care. Here's a little something. Shut up. Shut up and going back to your homes. A mess. Glenda and the other tenants in that building, they had went through a little situation where, they were having issues in their apartments, being separated, being in their apartments, trying to get back to normal and everything, still having all this like that PTSD thing going on. And so what they had done, they would actually meet downstairs in like a hallway, like in a lobby area, and they were all together. And they would sleep down there together, and that way they could kind of watch each other. So it was just kind of comforting. That's what our people do. Black people, we come together, and somebody is coming with a Bible, child. And when things are bad, we gather. That's what we do. That's what we do. I think other nationalities are like that too, but I can only really speak from where I sit. I'm Black, and when things get real, real bad, we gather. We gather. That's everybody's scared. We gather. That's what we do. Um, Next thing you know, the landlord comes and he tells him, and that was working out for him for a while. The landlord comes and he says, "Well, the owner is stopping me from because of safety reasons, stopping you all from doing this. What he's going to do is, but he'll give you 25% off of your rent if you choose to stay. And if you decide to break your lease, then, no penalty would be given." Take that in for a minute. First of all, I'm paying you. Okay. Let me get into it. I'm paying you to live in this little shop of horrors. Call it what you will. It's a little shop of horrors. You understand? I'm paying you to be here. And then we're getting together doing something to make it livable for us while we're paying you. And then you tell us that we just can't have that either. We can't have nothing. You can't have that. And if you want to stay, I'll give you 25% off. And if you want to go, I'll raise the penalty. Because could you imagine if he had to go to court, if he had literally tried to not let them break their lease? Who knows? Nothing might have happened. The way things are going, nothing might not have happened, but they would probably still be having them lawsuits to this day. But just a mess. And we end up seeing Glenda. She attended the funeral. There was a funeral that was actually put together for the 14-year-old, and the father thanked her, and she was saying, "I'm so sorry," and she thanked him for inviting her and letting her be a part of it. She said, "I'm so sorry." He said, "No, you have no reason to be sorry. You did everything that you could do in your power. You did everything that you could over and beyond." And they kind of bonded. They began kind of bonding a little bit. So that's all. That's a good thing. And you can see their family was really going through it because you have one child, you lost a child where the other families had children that they lost. He had the child that you lost, and then you have another one who probably is going through survivor's remorse and everything else, and dealing with being molested by this man. So he got all, it's a whole lot. It was a whole lot. And when they did like one of his dreams that he was having, it was terrible. It was really bad. It was really, really bad when they played that out. I'm like, that's horrible. It was really horrific. And there was a lot of them living in the house. Their family was huge, so there were people all around, but can't nobody get into that mind. It's just you. When you close your eyes, baby, it's just you. It's just you and your thoughts. It was terrible. But we end up seeing Lionel go through and see the grandma, Jeffrey's grandma. She's the Alzheimer has really got her down, and she's just kind of there and not there all at the same time, which was very sad. Very sad. And he's just talking to her. Again, Lionel, he lives in like a foggy land of delusion as well. He's talking to her about the movie and how the movie deal fell through. Just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Um, I can't imagine that if my mother was in her last days, I wouldn't be talking about her about nothing like that. Nothing. What? We'd be talking about roses and lilies. We wouldn't talk about no Jeffrey and nothing else that had to do with that. Just a mess. So anyway, back at that apartment building, there were some things going on, and there were people, again, these crazy fans. One day, Glenda and her daughter come up, and they got the baby. Somebody's out there, they're taking pictures and carrying on, and she says, "Hey, stop this. This is not a game. People lost their lives here. You are treating it like it's a game." And they were like blowing her off. And her daughter was like, had enough. And she knocked the camera down out of the boy's hand and everything. And, they go on. They're like, "You're crazy." They go on with the business. They go on. Well, it didn't take very long. You looked up, baby. There's a knock on the door. And Glenda's like, "Who is it?" It's like, "The police." Oh, yes, the police. See, they showed up to Glenda's apartment expeditiously. Did you hear me? They showed up at Glenda's apartment expeditiously and arrested her daughter for smacking a white man's camera onto the floor. Yet, some fool sat up in here and killed two handfuls of black men and brown men and melanated men up in this apartment building, and y'all couldn't. We'll be there tomorrow. We'll come later. We'll see. We'll check. I said, boy, y'all really doing it. It's just too much. And they literally arrested her right there on the spot. Arrested right on the spot. Then we see this rich man. His name was Joe Zolbar. He literally, they got all the things out of Jeffrey's apartment, and they were going to they were doing this whole thing. They were trying to auction it off and make this money and all of this. It's like, child, it's not happening. It's not happening. He has money. He purchased everything and took it and watched as they destroyed it. He said, nobody's going to take this mess and make these things into collector's items. It's not going to happen. He paid and had it all destroyed. I said, see, there is some humanity still out there. And I said, I get it. Now, that's when you're using your money for what you should be using your money for. He took, and there was some other money that came out of some deals that he made, because where he made these deals, he came to the homes, and he actually distributed the monies that was left through all the families. He literally put his money where his mouth was. So that was really, really cool. Then we see the survivor that was stuck on the bus. He actually still dealing, he took him a long time to get out, to be able to come out and be in the public. He actually went back to that bar, which I don't know how he really did, but he went back to the bar, and here he was going through some PTSD stuff too. He's thinking he's seeing Jeffrey there in the bar and different things. But then they show him at work. He actually is working with other people on their situations. He was actually helping people with HIV awareness and finding out, that they have positive results, and kind of helping them through that. But I'm like, well, who's actually helping you? You know what I mean? Who's helping you? But yeah, he was going through something. I think a lot of people, they probably just kept it to themselves. Probably kind of kept it to themselves. Because back then, in 91, 92, were we really even saying PTSD? Were we even, like treating people like regular people, not people who have been in the war and different things like that, for PTSD? I don't think we were. It wasn't that popular back then, Then we see another scene back at Glenda's place. The landlord, Mr. Presswell, he shows up, and he's telling her, he said, the city is behind the building, Glenda. So everybody's being evicted. 2 months after, they had 60 days to evacuate. 2 months after, the building was demolished. And that kind of gave Glenda some closure. You could see her standing out there. They were all standing out watching. And as the building was being demolished, you could see in the window where Jeffrey's apartment was, she was looking and you could see Jeffrey standing in there. And I said, okay, well, maybe that'll give her the closure that she actually needs. Yeah, not so much. Just a bit, but it was a little bit of a closure for her, that some of that could just go away with the building. So I'm glad that they knocked the building down, because them people should have never been brought back in there. Down at the jail, Jeffrey's still doing what he's doing, antagonizing people and carrying on and getting away with it for the most part. Then he decides to go on down to the church. He decides to go on down to the church. Now you're going to sit up in the sermon and doing all the carrying on, carrying on. And everybody knows from his story, he don't believe in God all like that. He was worshiping the devil and all these other little things. Well, one of the inmates decided to give him, I said, oh, Lord, right during church. I said, oh, my God, got him right in the neck, baby. But they didn't get him, didn't take him out, but he was messed up. And then we actually end up seeing, the very last thing we see in the episode is more fan mail coming in. And the fans, this is how sick they are. They were saying, oh, yeah, man. Yeah, this fan named Dave. Oh, yeah, you're being, you could never die, because, of course, they heard about him getting jabbed. You'll never die, because, everybody makes, you're just like Michael Myers and Freddy Krueger. Michael Myers and Freddy Krueger. Really? Really? We got some real live wires running around amongst us. Trust me. And things ain't changed. Those people like that are still around. Like I tell y'all, protect your neck, honey. Protect your neck. And when you out here doing like what I'm doing right now, pay attention to everything. I do. I pay attention to everything. Everything. Don't just be blowing things off that people are doing. Some of these people really got issues, real issues. And they're right up in the chats with us. Right up in the chats with us. And you said some of them you saying hello to, and you don't know. They just is whacked out, honey. It just, it is what it is. It take all kinds to make this world go round. But all you can do is pay attention to your surroundings. And like I said, protect your neck. All right, y'all. I'll talk to y'all on the next episode. We almost there.